of mentalism. So I'm gonna start off with a Bruce Lee quote, and I'm reading it from this book. Seven Pillars in Existence, a Handbook for Existence by Keith Garcia, aka Man of Letters. Where's the Bruce Lee quote he put in there? You can put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Be water. And that is why when I found the Bruce Lee street art, that when I found that, I took some pictures of it. It's the official picture for my podcast with Victoria on Unfiltered Spirituality, and that's going to be our brand. Well, it is our brand. It's becoming something little by little, because Bruce Lee represents so much to me, more than just martial arts. So let's get to the Hermetic law of mentalism. Mentalism, the mind is all is mind. And everything comes from the mind. Everything that we see in the external world, the physical world, and the spiritual world, everything that we can think of comes from mentalism. It's created from a mind. Everything from grass to plastic to everything you see on my altar was created by a mind, and everything that you can think of. So I'm going to start off with, where am I going to start off? So I'm going to start off reading a passage from Man of Letters book. I'm going to read out of this book a few times during this live, kind of like I did during the last stream before I got messed up. So it says right here, follow closely and I will explain how infinity is possible, how we can tap into the universal laws of the all and its operating systems. We enter our lives as magicians from here on out. But first things first, let's discuss the universe within New Age thought and spirituality. Much of the terminology and paradigms are that the universe is not the all. As if the universe is the all. But the universe is not the all. Key, the universe is not the all. But in New Age thought, they're telling you guys, all these New Age law of attraction teachers like Savannah Love, Jake Ducey, fucking Aaron Dowdy, and all of them are telling you this. Ralph Smart, they're telling you these things. They're clearly doing it for the money. That's what they're after, okay? So in alchemy terms, they would be called puffers, I guess you could say. And the puffers were the ones back in the day who would bring the kings a rock that was covered in fake gold. So they would have made some type of liquid that looks like gold, but it's not gold. Dipped it in there a couple times, getting it a nice thick coating, and say, here's fucking gold. That's what they're doing to you, versus the people like myself who are actually making gold, who are actually taking that rock that they gave to the king and figuring out how to turn that base rock or that base metal like lead into gold, and doing it. That's just to give you a little bit of insight. And right now I will be watching my stream, because at first I wasn't watching my stream, I was just doing the video. And I'm like, wait a minute. We messed up in the game. But anyway, due to the nature of the all, we have already gone over this. Cannot be. We see constant change within the universe, and remember, the all cannot change. So the fact that we see constant change in the universe means that the universe cannot be the all. Note that. So Man of Letters also says we see constant change within the universe and of the universe itself. Therefore, the universe cannot be the all, for there is nothing outside the all in which to instigate change. Remember that the all operates as the substantial existence. Thus, it is the absolute truth, and therefore it must be unchanging. This we gotta accept. Or he says this we have to accept. So that's a big part of mentalism. Right there. Because mentalism is very big on the universe itself. But we must know first that the universe is not the all-pervading mind. The all-pervading mind, aka the mental mind, is where everything happens. And creation comes from thought. Mentalism comes from thought. And that's obviously how we create things. So that is something that we must understand. If I want to create a dope piece of artwork, I have to first think about things. I have to give it structure. It probably, like with me, in my past, it always, not always, but a lot of times it came from when I was smoking, smoking a blunt or something. And the emotion, there's the emotion activated. I'm feeling some sort of way. I'm interacting with the world in a certain way to where now I want to make this dope script because of the emotional state of mind that I'm in at that point corresponds with that, even if I don't do shit about it. I'm still in that mind frame, inspired to create something, and that's just from an artist's perspective. Creation comes from the mental mind, and remember, the mind is the link between above and below. There are three planes of existence: the spiritual, the mental, and the physical. Okay. And the mind is the middle of them. It is the link between above and below. It is the mediator. Which is why Thoth is in his energy, or correspondences of his energy in all pantheons, Hermes, Mercury, they're so important. That's why he's the great mediator. That's why you see him in working with Ra, Heru, and all of them. And then you see him corresponding as a moon deity, because he can do it all. And then being referenced as the great mediator. He's the link between above and below, which is why he was the one to leave the tablets. That's why they're called the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. For a fucking reason. This we must accept. And understand, and overstand. And do something with it. Do something dope with it, So think about it this way. When lots of people they're dealing with internal issues, or they're dealing with like health problems, some sort of health problem, sickness, some sort of ailment, some sort of depression or something like that, or of course, something like that. It all comes from the higher plane, and the link between the higher plane and that physical plane in which it manifested on in the physical is the mental plane. So I have this site that I was looking at, and this lady, I forgot her name, it's like Kathy something, and she has a list of ailments and different things that manifest physically. Like one of the things is, you see somebody who has a man or woman you see has really big thighs. That has a spiritual correspondence to they might have issues with their father. Or if a person suffers from cysts or something like that, that has a spiritual, correspondence of they suffer with, or not suffer from, but you know what I'm saying. They are dealing with not speaking their truth, or not they hold their tongue for whatever reason, whether it be a good reason or a bad reason. They hold their tongue. You know what I'm saying? So if they've probably done everything they've known to man to try to get these things to stop. They've worked out, they've changed their diet, but it just seems not to work good enough and whatnot. It means they need to seek the spiritual. They've done everything they can do on the physical and partially in the mental, more than likely. Then they need to go to the upper half of the mental, go to the spiritual plane, which will take them to the spiritual plane, figure out what they need to do on the higher plane, and it will take care of the rest of the work. You see what I'm saying? But the mind was the link between the two. And that's what I'm getting at here. Mentalism, if you don't understand mentalism and you can't get your head wrapped around mentalism, not only will you not understand the other 6 principles of life or the all, but you won't understand life itself and how to move around consciously in a way that will all universes exists within the mind of the all. Us being